at the differences of how we celebrate things versus how they celebrate, right? Like, our celebration is how much more time can we spend with our family.
The Abdus Salam Science Fair, and it's truly to encourage more and more youth to bring their ideas forth, to bring their discoveries forth.
It's all about promoting peace, post-interfaith happiness, and interfaith understanding.
Another one very interesting, Kali Billi. Where is that one?
Somebody tweeted like how much money you guys are getting. So
we're getting paid per show. It depends how many sponsors we get.
We had the Coca-Cola board.
Oh, we had it somewhere. Oh, we can't say that.
I think another tweet that.
We've heard the term biological clock. I'm sure all of you might have heard that. It's a commonly used term, and it's meant to make us aware that there is a right time for everything.
We're going to be showing some of those pictures on this screen right behind us. These were sent in from some of our Twitter followers.
It is important that you first reform yourselves. If you become righteous and virtuous, then have faith that Allah will treat your progeny in good manner.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another exciting episode of the third season of Aperture. With me again today is a very wonderful panel. To my left is Burhan Guraya Sahib, who used to be a die-hard fan of Aperture, and because he was such a good fan, we brought him here. Still is, but now he's a panelist. And to his left is Anik Chatta Sahib, who is a student of University of Ontario, first time joining us today to help us with his unique insight on several issues that we're going to talk about today. And next to him is Shahid Mansoor Sahib, who is National Secretary Tarbiyat, of course, and Sadr Sahib Ansarullah. Jazakallah to all of you coming.
So Marvi Sahib, where we start today? We, alhamdulillah, covered quite a few topics last time, and alhamdulillah, very positive feedback came from the viewers that it was a fast-paced, engaging episode in which we keep on going with the new and different topics and avenues. So from today, for today's episode, the first thing is we need to just discuss what is going on, what is happening around us in the world, and especially from the youngsters' perspective. There's the two young folks who are sitting over here. I need to ask Burhan Guraya Sahib, what is your perspective, what you're seeing, what is happening in the world nowadays, and what you're seeing day in, day out?
Recently I was just watching the news this morning. There was a unfortunate incident that happened with the German airline. From Air Malaysia to, two Air Malaysian Boeing planes to this German airline that killed, or there was a casualties of 150 people.
Yeah.
Right now, families in Germany and foreign families as well, they are asking for compensation.
And it's not only the compensation, but also the state of mind of the pilot who was driving it and co-pilot.
Yeah.
There is a huge investigation going on. There is a few things going on for him.
And because of that, there have been stricter laws in Canada as well. Before they were asking for just two pilots in the cockpit.
Right. Now so there is a state of mind of that person in which he was feeling depressed and everything. So that's one person with a state of mind who takes so many lives with him.
Mm-hmm.
And other than on the international level, what you're seeing, the countries, what they're doing. There's something in Yemen which is happening, and Saudi Arabia have done something. So Anik, what's your perspective behind it?
To tell the truth, I actually didn't look into what's happening in Yemen, because I usually am surrounded by Saudi Arabians, so all I talk about is just chaos in Syria and ISIS. Yeah, actually it's a recent development. I think a lot of people don't know that because of the Shia rebels in Yemen, actually Yemen is, like Libya, Yemen is not a country anymore. It's just scattered, right? There are different parts. So there are areas that are controlled by the Shias. There's a very small area controlled by the former president. And then there's one of the strongest Al-Qaeda groups exists in Yemen, AQAP. that they have their own territory, and then ISIS is also there somewhere in between.
So
and
they're all factions,
yeah,
small factions.
And Saudi Arabia actually attacked the Shia rebels, which actually control a large part of northwestern Yemen.
And Iran is also now jumping
And
into the war.
Iran is
trying to-
juggling because
juggling.
it is connected with those Shia rebels. And so there are these proxy wars that are...
So that's there, and what else happened in the Middle East? You know, like historically, what's going on over there? So can you shed some light? Especially you are living among, as you mentioned, University of Oshawa. There are so many people from the Middle East who are coming over
so
there
many
and studying.
Saudi Arabians. One of the things that I noticed when I went to the prayer in the university, just to observe how everything is going on, like in terms of Friday sermon. And one of the shocking things that I personally felt and heard, I guess the person who was giving the sermon, at the end of the prayer, he said, let's all pray for the mujahideen who are fighting in Syria.
This is at a university
Yeah, at
level?
the university.
So this is what it is. I mean, this is what is being groomed day in, day out in the minds of people, that this is whatever is going on is right. Whoever is, so from one point of view, is a mujahid for one group, and for the other group, it's a villain. So it's what's the definition of a mujahid? That's another thing which is happening. So considering into this, what's going on with the peace of the world? What is going with the peace of mind? What happened to that pilot from an individual to the peace of the nations and peace of the world? What's going on, Burhan?
You know, the fact of the matter is that people are looking, people are in a state of mind where they need help, right? The pilot to, quote unquote, mujahideens, but they're looking for an outlet to a spiritual leader, right? They're looking for an outlet for a leader, and they're not getting that from worldly aspects. Right? They're not getting that from their peers. They're not getting that from their friends, and
So that's what they're looking for. So like there was something happened in England, considering all of this. Huzur Anwar.
Yeah, there was a peace conference recently where Huzur Anwar, may Allah be his helper, talked about these issues. And this peace conference comes only 5 months after the previous one. And Huzur was, because the previous one had to be rescheduled, and Huzur was talking about how he mentioned a few things in that peace conference 5 months ago. And there was a ray of light that some of the governments have taken up some of, whether it was they took the advice from him or it was conveyed to them somehow. And there was a resolution passed in the UN previous month where they said that we have to put a stop on the revenue of ISIS, like through the oil, and there should be restrictions on countries buying oil from ISIS.
These illegal transactions.
Right. Because there was no restriction on that earlier, and so ISIS was making money, and so there's a ray of light there. But other than that, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Huzur has mentioned one thing very specifically after the 2/3 of his speech. He mentioned about that in Libya and Syria and all of these places where we created the conflict, and Western countries also went over there to kind of so-called help and everything. We left those countries in turmoil and we moved on. We never paid attention to what's going on. And over there, these groups, ISIS and all those things are growing right now because they're left unattended. There's no governance over there. And that's where Huzur has challenged the world that what are we doing? And he has given some recipe of success also.
You know, the problem with that was this is kind of undermined in the news media or a lot of outlets, is that when there's Western influence and interventions, they try to go help, but in return it causes, it facilitates the problem, because these individuals, who try to manipulate people to join these organizations like ISIS or Boko Haram.
Right. So
and it's a never-ending cycle.
Right. Anik, you want to say something in this regard?
Well, what I can say, coming from the Western point of view, when they do enter, I guess, a foreign land, and there have been a lot of documentaries about it, one of the things that I captured from all of the documentaries is when they go try to help the people who are living in that country, they would accidentally kill the civilians. Instead of helping people, they're killing the civilians. So if, for instance, I see my brother or family member die in front of me, then don't you think I would have that hatred against Western society?
Revenge. Then you want
Yeah,
to
exactly.
revenge. So Huzur Ahmad has given a recipe. What was that recipe?
Right, Hazur has said that, you know, instead of taking any sides, you know, they can consider working with governments. You know,
Whatever the kind of government is,
whatever
right?
the government is there, they work with them, and whatever they need, whatever they think the government is doing wrong, they can put some conditions down, get back to the negotiating table and talk these things out instead of you know, fighting there, and then these are these rebels and these are that rebels, and this country supports this and the country, you know, and it's a never-ending process. And Hazur is trying to say that it should be stopped somewhere.
It should be stopped somewhere. And on the top of that, because of no association for a noble cause, there is a revenge cycle going on. There is a revenge circle going on. What happens to us as Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya? We have a recent shahadat in Pakistan, a martyrism.
Yeah.
We had hundreds of people martyred in the last few years. But what is our revenge? What are we doing? What our youth is doing? The youth is sitting over here.
Yeah.
What is our revenge?
I mean, through the guidance of Khalifa Anwar, you know, we pray. We
Yes,
pray for
right.
these individuals. That's the first thing that comes to our minds.
Right.
You know, we're in such a beautiful organization, a divine organization, where it helps us. You know, it gives us these steps what we can take. Right. We don't go out and retaliate as, you know, other people do or other organizations might do. Just in the case in Lahore, where the church was burnt down, the individuals that, you know, the Christians that were in the church at the time, they retaliated by, you know, killing innocent Muslims. You know,
So
we have
there's-
this guideline of just praying for them, right?
They were astonished, actually, the whole television media, they went to Rabwa after the Lahore incident a few years ago, and they were looking for some demonstration or something, and they were stunned. And they were crying for something is going to happen, something is going to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to come out and start burning cars and the properties and looting properties. But look at our reaction. So this is a divine thing which those countries do not have. Do not have that kind of association. So remember, we have, mashallah, that's how our
our
reaction.
That
And
is,
you have,
you know, and we, you know, istainu bis-sabri was-salah is in the Holy Quran, several places. We were studying in the Dars Surah Al-Araf also, where Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, when Pharaoh threatened that, you know, I will do this and I will kill your eldest sons and all these other things. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was also telling his people to seek help with patience and prayer. And all the prophets, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did the same thing in Makkah. And the Prophet
radicalization, right?
Right. I mean, you have to respond with help from Allah, seeking help from Allah, and through prayers and through self-control and reformation.
So hate, with the hate, is not going to produce peace.
Yeah.
Hate is going to create more hate.
Right.
And it's a never-ending cycle. It's a vicious circle.
And even Shai Sahib, this person in this morning's sermon, Hazur mentioned Noman Najam Sahib, who was martyred, Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilaihi Raji'un. He was a very peaceful and peace-loving person, and Hazur mentioned some of his qualities as well, that he owned a computer shop, and then once they wanted to set up a mission house, and he donated some of the computers, and he installed some of the programs and all that, you know, and service to humanity. You know, this is the kind of person. So this is a reflection.
In the conditions of Ba'ath,
Right.
which we believe on,
Right.
the promised Messiah alayhi salam, there's so many times it's mentioned about Aam Khalqullah ki hamdardi,
Right.
the betterment, and for the people, we have to work for the people, for their betterment, and we should be well-wishers of them.
Right.
So we had that 23rd March, we celebrated
Yeah,
something, and like, what was that? 23rd March, 1889, there's something happened.
The
Of course,
initiation of
the
Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya.
right?
Very blessed day.
Very blessed day.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the conditions,
Promised
that conditions
Messiah
of us-
Day, right?
Yeah.
Right,
So
Promised
we
Messiah,
celebrated
something
and talking about the same service to humanity. The Promised Messiah Islam, you know, you look at his life, it was full of examples of how one example is of his opponent, Nihal Singh's, you know, and this person was, you know, doing these court cases against the Jamaat and all these things. And right in the middle, one of his relatives gets sick, and she needed a special kind of medicine, and he could not find it anywhere. He goes to the house of the Prophet ﷺ, knocks on the door. The Prophet ﷺ answers the door himself and says, what's going on? What do you need? And he's like, I need this medicine and I can't find it anywhere. He goes inside, brings out exactly the amount that he needs and gives it to him. without any hesitation, without any, he's his opponent. He's causing harm to the Jamaat. And so this is
right. So based on the same philosophy, we gave a prize in the peace conference to a lady from India. Her name Sidhutai Sabkal, and we tweeted her picture getting the peace prize from Huzur Anwar. That was retweeted the most on Aperture account in the last week or so. So what was her background, Burhan, or Anik, Sidhutai Sabkal? Who was she? What is she doing?
I don't really know her background, but I know for a fact that when they were giving the award out at the Peace Symposium, they were talking about her accomplishments. She helped around, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,400 youth or orphans.
Anik was telling us about her background a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I went through the video and I also heard what Hazrat Saab was talking about the Peace Symposium. The lady talked about her events at the age of 20 and onwards, and she said that when I was 20, I was homeless, and I'm pretty sure if I can quote her correctly, she said I was a beggar. At that time, and I heard a voice. So I'm not sure what voice was it. Maybe someone from the back. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning, or maybe it was someone from God's, I guess, in that sense, or state of mind. I think the voice from state of mind, and she said that you should live, and don't be a beggar. Live your life to the fullest. And that's how you're going to accomplish and get through this toughness.
She was such a simple lady.
Yeah, such a simple lady.
Doing such a noble cause. And Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya, without any difference or distinction of a race, religion, to promote these kind of behaviors, to promote these kind of people. And we need these kind of people. We have enough of the bad news. We have enough of the worst things which are happening around us, from an individual to the countries to the societies. What a wonderful way of promoting the good things in the society, which we are right now looking forward to. There's so much in need of that. And same thing on the same context of the Promised Messiah Salam Day, there was a beautiful exhibition by Jamia Ahmadiyya. We tweeted about that also from the Aperture account. I hope that we can show that tweet also. Maximum retweets from that. From the last 2 weeks, the maximum retweets of the Aperture account, one was the Jamia exhibition. People loved it. People liking it and retweeting, and there's a lot of excitement and jubilation among people. Beautifully arranged.
Right, it was very unique. I mean, they put together certain things that are really remarkable. For instance, they had a Google map where they put all the places where the Prophet ﷺ visited, and all the cities and towns were listed, and also on the map they were all pointed out. So you can click on the city or tap on the city, and it will show you which years that the Prophet ﷺ visited that city or town. And then there was a banner about all his court cases, and then there was a banner about all his opponents. And the way it was put up, it was very beautiful. And there was
very hard work and dedication went into that. I mean,
I saw the biggest life-size picture of the Prophet ﷺ.
Yes, that's the one which I tweeted over there from the Aperture account.
And we'll try to show that tweet also.
A very interesting thing about that was they actually had a cloth of the Promised Messiah from his coat and hair.
And hair also, right?
And there was Mehndi on that hair.
And there was a ring also.
A ring as well. I think that was only for the first 2 days.
It was only on the first day. So the exhibition was great, and the good news is that the whole exhibition is coming on their website also. They're going to have that display on the website, and they are going to prepare a book also from that exhibition. So that is in the works. So we'll keep you posted about the progress of that. With that,
so I think it's time for a short break. We have a video clip. Please check it out and come back. Thank you.
In terms of extremism, let it be absolutely clear that wherever and whenever anyone seeks to justify their hate-filled atrocities or injustices in the name of Islam, they should be condemned. Let it also be very clear that such acts have no relation whatsoever to the true and peaceful teachings of Islam. As I alluded to earlier, I do not believe that policymakers and governments are currently taking all the necessary steps required to stop extremism. In my view, it would be far more effective for the major powers to support the local governments by taking them into confidence and seeking to build a relationship of mutual trust. Through close cooperation, a joint strategy should be formed to stop the spread of extremism and its hate-filled ideology. This will surely prove more effective than opposing the local governments by giving military training and weapons to the local rebels. Such policies can only further inflame the existing turmoil and tensions in those countries. Indeed, we have already seen the dangers and folly of this policy. Some time ago, certain major powers gave military training to members of the Syrian opposition. And it was later widely reported that many of those same rebels had taken their newly acquired arms and training and joined terrorist groups. Yet, despite this precedent, it has now been announced that thousands more Syrian rebels are going to be given military training in Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. I believe it would have been far more constructive for the major powers to build bridges with the local governments and to help them end the terrorism in their countries. This support could have been given on the condition that the respective governments guaranteed that they would serve their citizens fairly and would not usurp their rights in any shape or form.
We hope that you enjoyed that clip where Hazur is giving some advice to the distinguished guests that were there, the members of parliament that were there, that there are certain steps that have to be taken in order to fight back ISIS. We have already discussed that. The next topic that we want to discuss is about another event that was recently held. It was Nasir tournament. Burhan, when was the dates? A couple of weeks ago, I think.
A couple of weeks ago. I don't have the exact dates. But alhamdulillah, it was an amazing event.
And what kind of sports were included? And
Nasir tournament consists of basketball and soccer. Unfortunately, this year there was no soccer, but there was a phenomenal turnout from various states from the U.S., from both countries, North America, but there was a lot of teams. The U.S., they brought around 7 or 8 teams, alhamdulillah. So, in Canada, there was around another 7 or 8 teams, but there was so much turnout that they had to make 2 pools this year. One happened in Avani Tahir, and then another happened at a local high school around Peace Village.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you get to play?
GG.
I was play? That's why you were not the part of the last episode, right?
Yeah.
That's first episode in the last episode.
The first, actually, when the first episode aired,
right.
That was the first day of Nasir tournament.
And
so it was a Friday,
6th.
March 6th. It was a Friday,
right.
Saturday, and then Sunday.
So the teams came from USA and
Eastern, from
how many
Western.
from USA?
This year was the most turnout. There was around 7 teams.
From
7
USA?
teams from USA.
Oh.
7 teams.
Actually, it's us as far as Los Angeles and that area also.
Yeah,
they
came.
They came from
They
their
came.
teams.
I
Came
actually
from
saw a clip of that on
Eastern
CTV on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing a bunch of kids or Khudam, and one of them was from Los Angeles, and they were actually getting their views that why did you actually come from Los Angeles all the way from there, and attend this tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good actually in that sense that they were sharing their views that it's for spiritual life, it's for physical and mentally kind of thing.
And that's how you go away from radicalization.
Exactly,
Also. There's another
yeah.
way of, right, the physical
Creating this
activity.
brotherhood amongst everyone.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that was one of the
for a
points,
noble
right.
cause.
For a noble
Yeah,
cause, yeah.
right, right.
So
You know, once our team, there was a Jubilee tournament. The teams came from Europe, Belgium, England, Germany, and so Belgium team, they stayed over here and they were going to travel to USA to take part the Jubilee tournament in USA. So they stayed here for a week and then they were crossing the border.
This is
and,
back when you were Khadim?
When I was Khadim once upon a time, long
80 years
ago, yes.
80 years ago.
80 years ago, you can say so. So, so what happened?
I still think you're young. So it's
Yes,
okay.
Jazakallah. He's working in the State Department, that's why he's securing his job. So, by giving that comment. So back to that. So they were crossing the border, and when they asked the question, when they were crossing the border by the U.S. border agency and the customs, that when you came, where you came from, you stayed here. Do you have any relative over here? We said no. We just stayed here with our Canadian organization. We stayed with them. And do you have any relative in America? No, we are going to stay there with them also. And they were stunned and astonished because it's mind-boggling for them that that's a kind of brotherhood network for such a noble cause and reason can be in place also. So that's what is phenomenal because we are under a divine leadership which always promotes peace and brotherhood and love for all, hatred for none.
Actually, a couple months ago, there was a Nasser tournament, Miss tournament, Masroor International Sports Tournament
right,
that happened in the United States, Maryland, Washington, and that was a very, very good tournament as well. Phenomenal turnout, but you know, there was an incident I remember. There was a team from the local church that came out, and they were astonished, and they were like, you know, you have people coming from Canada for a hockey, soccer and basketball tournament.
Hockey,
Right.
yes.
I was thinking about hockey.
Why you were thinking about hockey? You should not leave this.
Even I'm not a fan, but I hear things that they're doing pretty bad.
Yeah, but they were astonished. The church team that came out, they were wondering why all these guys just came out for a basketball tournament, but they don't understand the brotherhood and the connections that we make.
The blessed one.
The blessed brotherhood that we make in these kind of events.
Yeah, I mean, Jamaat, and we talk about it in the interviews also, media interviews, that, when they ask us, what are you guys doing for de-radicalization and to counter, these radical movements? And this is one of our ways. We want our youth to be involved with the community, involved in good activities, and instead of, being dragged into something like this. And one of the reasons why people do get radicalized is because they are depressed and frustrated and isolated. But these kind of events help bring the community together and teach them a lot of skills too at the same time, right? Yeah, leadership skills and
leadership skill management, and that's what we were talking in the last episode. But moving on from the Nazir tournament to the Cricket World Cup, I'm going to talk about the Cricket World Cup as long as the Cricket World Cup is happening because I'm a die-hard fan of cricket. So sorry for that. I know there was a very interesting tweet by Sabahat MS. So who are we, Pakistani? Which team we want to win today? So they are talking about semi-final now. Australia. So not India. I'm with India also. I'll get back to that later on. And then which team we want to win in final? New Zealand, not Australia. So we are changing our association for the teams as Pakistan is not there anymore.
You know what they call that? They call bandwagoners. So they jump on one team to another team.
Right.
So yeah, we want to be associated. We want to feel associated. We want to feel excited about this.
They're true fans of Pakistan, and the reason they don't like other teams is because Pakistan's out of the tournament.
That's bandwagon.
So I don't know. It's a definition. It depends on how you define a bandwagon. Right? My definition.
But one reason why people might want to support New Zealand is because this is the first time they've entered the finals, and Australia and the other contenders were all they've had a World Cup before. Yeah.
And the one thing which I don't like personally, India, the team India, when there was Tendulkar and Dravid, they're very humble folks, really nice people. So that's the reason for me liking India. But now the things have changed. So it's coming, the ego is so much, and in Australia, the same thing, the team in Team Australia, the ego is so much over there, is so much evident, and that's also caused the people to go away from these teams.
That reminds me of the clip against Pakistan when the batsman was actually playing. Well, he was a bowler, but he was playing as a batsman, and one of the fielders usually clapping in front of his face. So that shows like the ego and the attitude the Australian players have actually in the.
And same thing, Pakistan went into the same cycle to some extent, but it was.
But I think it's more of a revenge because
right,
you know
right.
they started
relevant
it.
sports. Let's talk about relevant sports.
Which one? Hockey?
Hockey,
No, it's
basketball.
not relevant anymore. What's going on over there? Raptors we can talk about, but they're also.
Raptors are playing today.
They're playing today
against Lakers.
Yes.
What's the time?
What's the score?
It's 10
Can you
o'clock.
find out? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they started at 7:30.
They're playing in here, right? Not in West.
I'm not sure about
They
that.
must be playing here. That's at 7:30 is the
Yeah.
start time. Somebody
Probably.
tweeted, must be there, tweeted the fresh score about the basketball game, but Leafs don't even think about it anymore.
Same,
Please, for God's
same
sake,
scenario as Pakistan.
No, they're a bit better.
They're a bit better.
The last 10 games.
But you know, they have the same habits of losing. What happened? Leafs, they lost against Boston in the playoff.
Don't remind
Pakistan
me
do
of
the
that.
same thing. So that's why they are the same from that perspective. So anyways, I think we can go for another break.
Yeah, we have another clip on about the Nasser tournament, and we'll go for that break, and you
Please
can watch
tweet.
it.
Be the part of this
Yeah.
show because there's a lot of tweets come, so we need to.
Right, it's our Twitter handle is @aperture_show. You can tweet us with your comments, questions, and we can include them in the program. Please check out this video.
Never underestimate the power of sport. Natalie Dudridge with how one group of Muslims is taking to the basketball court to break down barriers and stereotypes.
There's so many youth here from literally all across the country from our organization, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association. So it's a chance to get to know them, a chance to build brotherhood with them, and influence them positively.
It's a test of the mind, body, and spirit. The Nasser tournament combines belief and basketball, bringing together 16 teams of young Muslim men from across North America.
This is actually my first time coming here. I'm representing Los Angeles. So we're here not just for basketball, I'm here for youth development as well. I'm here to be inspired by meeting my other brothers.
And there's a couple hundred players here, aged 16 to 40. One of the topics here today is about stopping extremism. Another is providing an outlet for the youth.
I'm at a loss for words at how hurt we are to see these youth being radicalized in the world. This is our way of reaching out to the youth and just keeping them involved in good things. Just teaching them that Islam doesn't teach such horrific thoughts. It's not about violence. It's about brotherhood and peace.
I mean, you hear about so many different things going on, and radicalization and youth. So, our youth. We talk about reformation instead of radicalization. So, sports is the best avenue for that.
Before and after every game, coaches and players huddle for a team prayer right on the court, keeping focused on the bigger game plan.
The narrative nowadays with Muslim youth is a little negative sometimes, but things like this, getting together with our youth, help to, drive a different narrative.
And the final is set for Sunday, where the best team from Canada plays the top team from the U.S., but organizers here say it's not about the scoreboard, it's all about instilling spirit and sportsmanship. In Vaughan, I'm Natalie Dudridge, City News.
So there you go. It's about reformation and not radicalization.
Not radicalization.
That
Beautiful.
was very nicely said.
That should be a hashtag to Aperture.
Yes, why not? Let's do whoever is controlling the Twitter account now.
Yeah, we should adopt that.
We were just talking about the Raptors. The Raptors just won.
Yes, my son called and I told you. So during the break. So here you go.
This time we were not having the technical difficulties, so they couldn't hear.
Yeah, they couldn't hear. So we had the technical difficulties last.
Yeah, we apologize for that. There was a little bit of a hiccup.
So it's fixed now. So, but the point is, yes, they won. So Raptors is still much better. Actually, Naveed Mangla Sahib, our Murabi Silsila from Belize, he tweeted. Back. Yeah, he back. I think we should invite him in the show also sometime. And he tweeted right in the have we dreamed about this, that Raptors on the top in our lifetime? So they were in the top of the East Conference in the start of the year. They are fourth now. So
since you mentioned Naveed Mangla Sahib, I just want to throw that in. But Alhamdulillah, we had 16 bats in Belize last month.
Last month?
Yeah, just 1 month.
I think we should bring a Nasser also, because in Sarula we are sending a Nasser every month for Bakfi Arzi over there. Bhatti Sahib with his son.
We have some very amazing stories, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned, and next episode is going to be full of those stories, inshallah, and we'll bring those stories. So actually, I want to come back. We want to talk about one of the conversion who just came to Canada, but before that, hockey. Last comment. You were so excited in the break to talk about hockey. Tanking phenomena?
No, I was going to say the sports culture in Toronto has changed. I mean, the Leafs have lost so much. I mean, the last 10 games, they're 1-1. 1 win, 8 losses, 1 tie.
It's time for reformation now.
It's time for a change. But
no, I think it's time for radicalization.
They're already radicalized. That's why they're doing like this.
Just like what happened in Vancouver when they lost against Boston in Stanley.
Oh, that was something.
And that was a totally different level, I guess, of radicalization.
That's a different level of radicalization. This is so true. The hooligans and everything. So tanking. So why they're tanking?
The tanking for, well, it's not true or not, but the tanking for McDavid.
Now you're being diplomatic.
McDavid. But I actually was reading an article on National Post by Don Cherry, and when he says something, about hockey, the whole hockey nation, because he's a Canadian hockey icon, they start listening, and it stops. And he goes on to say that Toronto has given up.
No hope.
No hope for them.
That's good.
They've given up.
Okay. Good to know.
And for a Leafs fan, that's that's deterring to see.
You should be a Boston fan now.
Oh, never. Born and raised in Toronto. Diehard Leaf fan.
Right, diehard Leaf fan. Good luck for that. Hope they will get back David because of this tanking phenomena. So that's the reason behind this madness. So moving further, you met a person last week. You want to share some story about that?
I met this person, actually this family that has recently come to Canada. I wouldn't mention their names for obvious reasons, but they are hardly here for a month, and I've met them twice, and they had some wonderful stories to share with us. There was, we have his meetings sometimes, and in his, just some members of the Jamaat come together.
So what are the Salihin sessions? Yes.
Yeah, it was like a Sohbat Salihin session, like, people just coming together, discussing their stories. Some of them are just humorous, some of them are just casual, some of them are really faith-inspiring. And this family, the Shahid Sahib pointed out, so they basically converted in 2001. Yes, and before that they were staunch opponents of Ahmadiyyat, so much so that one of the brothers would be had so much hatred. Okay, first of all, his condition was very Maulvi-like person, big dardi and beard, and like the Maulvi type of clothes. I don't want to use the stereotype here, but you get my point. Somebody who's very strict about
opponent of Jamaat.
Groups, and so and he was so much of an opponent of the Jamaat that even if he were to find a member of the Jamaat on the street, he would start fighting. That's how much hatred he had. And alhamdulillah, one of their brothers was in the US, and he came to know about Jamaat, and he sent them some books. And what he did is, he said, there's a book of the Promise of Messiah, Hakikatul Wahi. So his brother would keep on telling him to try and, just a little bit, just try and investigate. And eventually, he said, I opened the book, I read half a page, and I said I wanted to convert to Ahmadiyyat.
Really?
Because that person who's writing this could not be a false person. So such a staunch opponent who is now an Ahmadi just because of that one. And then his brothers were also opponents. One of his brothers was in charge of 120 mosques in one of the cities, one of the major cities in Pakistan. And so, and he converted also. And so,
converted also.
Yeah, and all the brothers are now Ahmadi Muslims. Their mother turned Ahmadi Muslim, and their extended families, cousins. Some of them are still, but many of them are now members of the Jamaat. And so it was so faith-inspiring, and no choice. Also a little bit of a tragic.
No choice for others.
Yeah, and to be open-minded.
Yep.
A little bit. I know I'm taking a little bit of time, but a tragic part of the story was that one of their brothers was martyred in 2012, and they started receiving a lot of threats recently, 2 years ago, and that's when they moved to another country, and from that country they came to Canada.
So these are the things which are happening around us, and this is what is going to happen. As Muslim Muhammad mentioned that not how many generations are going to go away when the people become so much
third or
hopeless,
fourth generation.
Like
they're already at the third generation,
and they have to come to under the banner of Ahmadiyyat, because that's a true heart-wrenching, motivational, inspirational way of living life. Because that's what where we have started this episode. There is hopelessness. There's so much tragedy going on. There's so much hatred and anger going on in the world, and
people are being isolated.
So all those things we are going to discuss, inshallah, more in the coming episodes for these reasons behind it. But the point is, this is the ultimate solution which the people have to have. So with this, I think we should go to the favorite tweets now.
Yeah. The best part of the show.
Why?
It's comical.
It's comical? So let's bring some comical. I hope they would have find already a tweet in which one of the skeleton is sitting outside.
And this is also part of the show where our viewers can, also send us some favorite tweets, and if we can probably include them. Again, the Twitter handle is @aperture_show. Also, you can tweet by just #Aperture, and we can catch you on that as well.
So while you're on finding the tweet, I guess I can share one of the stories that I encountered while I'm in school. So I attend with a lot of Middle Eastern and Saudi Arabian, and one of my friends is from Afghanistan. So, they're really strict kind of Muslims. And one time we started talking, and he's like, oh, these Ahmadi guys, these Qadiani guys, man, they're like really messed up. And I'm like, I'm an Ahmadi. And he was so shocked. He's like, seriously? I've been talking all this bad stuff right in front of your face. And I told him that, if you're going to talk to me or debate against my own religion or what I believe, go read my books and then talk to me. That way, it's a double-sided debate. And he's like, no, I can't do that because you're going to convert me.
You're going to convert me.
Yeah,
and
he's
here
like,
you
I'm not
go.
going to read your books because you're going to convert me.
So that's what the eclipse is. We have missed that part. The eclipse, when the sign of eclipse came for the truthfulness of promised Messiah Islam. And that's the Maulvi said, like, now Allah is with the Ahmadis also. How are we going to stop the people from converting to Ahmadiyat now? So that's a desperation from that perspective. So one of the very interesting tweet by Haram Police at Saad Abdul Hay. To be honest, the only thing the Muslims actually terrorized the world with was algebra. I hate algebra. So he wrote an equation, a plus 2x minus something is equal to Jahannam. So that was a very interesting tweet. And then there was another tweet in which a skeleton was sitting.
Jahannam is also hell, right?
And then there was another interesting, the skeleton is sitting on a bench, and the caption of that skeleton was, husband waiting for a wife in a fabric shop. So wife went for the shopping, and husband became a skeleton sitting outside waiting for the wife. So that's another interesting one. So our Twitter account is buzzing now, which is good. Mad Boy, I don't know who is this Mad Boy. I like your show, it's interesting at Aperture Show. Burrows, Jazakallah Burrows and SA favorited a tweet over here. And Wafa, another one who really follows our show, a die-hard fan, like Mr. Goraya sitting over here. She has favorited some of the tweets. Cricket News has favorited the tweet.
Maybe you should ask the followers, what they really want to see in the future.
Right. Why not? Go ahead. Talk about it.
Apart from hockey, something different.
Whatever people want to really talk about or discuss, just tweet out or tweet out to the show, and we can inshallah talk about it on a later day.
Inshallah. And there was another one from let me take it out. It's by different religions sitting together by Adnan Haider. Very interesting tweet in which there are 4 people, and Rabbi Sahib of the world is only our home, be tolerant. Rabbi Sahib is sitting over there, Buddhist is standing over there, a Christian is standing over there, Jewish is sitting over there, and they're all rabbis. They're in their clothes, which are rabbis or the people who are the leaders of the different faiths, and they're sitting together and discussing about a program over there they're organizing. So this is what it is. This is what Ahmadiyat is. They're trying to bring the good out of everyone, and they're trying to bring the commonalities among everyone to bring that peace and harmony in the society, which is essential for any or every society. The last one, which I'm going to share over here.
I feel so out of proportion. Everyone's on their phone, and I'm the
Yes,
only
you
one.
don't. You seem like 80 years old, and I seem like 20 years old now. Good. I
What was
feel
the last
good.
tweet?
So that's how I get
There's another.
energy.
Did you read this one, Sinwan Bisharat?
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's tweeted just now that hope to see inspiring students from Talimul Islam College for Aperture show. So
Yes.
Jazakallah, we will consider it, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. So Italian minister, very interesting tweet. So he rejected to sign a bill And he commented about that if the Virgin Mary appears wearing a veil on all her pictures, how can you ask me to sign a hijab ban law? That's another very sparkling discussion going on in Canada right nowadays. But I think we don't have the time to go into the more discussion in that. So with this, Murabbi Sahib, you want to introduce the next one?
Yeah, we have a video. If before we leave today, we can have the video about the article, the asteroid. Remember?
Yes, but
forget it.
No, I think so. We need to
talk about it next time.
Next show, yeah.
Next show, inshallah.
So next show is who is coming? So you want to?
So next show we have, inshallah, it'll be on April 10th, which is a couple of weeks from now. Same time, it'll be Friday, same time, 9:30. We are expecting Mubarak Ahmed Nazir Sahib, who is missionary in charge in Canada, as well as Malik Lal Khan Sahib, who is Amir Jamaat Ahmadiyya Canada. And we are going to discuss something with them that you have probably never heard of before, their personal stories and experiences with Ahmadiyyat. One of them is a convert, so I guess you can take a guess which one it is, and we want to hear their stories of how they converted to Ahmadiyyat and all that stuff. So that's coming in a couple of weeks.
Personal narrations, personal incidents, spiritual, faith-inspiring incidents of their own life.
Right.
MashaAllah, full of those.
Inshallah.
So we are looking forward to that very interesting episode on April 10th. I emailed wrong, April 8th. April 10th is the right Friday. So after 2 weeks, inshallah, we'll have that one over there.
Okay then, Jazakallah to all of you, and Jazakallah to our viewers for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show, and please do keep on tweeting to us and giving us suggestions and feedback about our show today. Again, the Twitter handle is @aperture_show, or you can just hashtag Aperture and send us a comment. Jazakallah again to all of our panelists, all of our viewers for joining us today, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.